Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today we're going to look at what I think is the safest giant deck, well, probably the safest deck in the game, and we have the help with TNT. You guys know TNT. He's a Nova Pro from Korea. He has his own YouTube channel. You guys should all check it out. The description will be in, why do I always say that? The link will be in the description. The description will be in the link below, guys. Sign up here. Okay, so this is the deck, by the way. If you don't have Ewiz, you can go ahead and use the Musketeer. It's an incredibly viable substitution, so you're not taking a huge step down. In fact, Musketeer has some benefits that the Ewiz doesn't, namely the pack of her punch, the pack of her shot, right? So we're going to go ahead and watch TNT's battles. He is currently number 5 in the world at the time. I recorded this yesterday. I'm actually commentating over it this morning, putting it out today. So he's number 5 in the world right now. I just checked in-game, and he's dominating with this deck. He's going to play the Ewiz version. After we watch a few of his replays against other really top players in the world, we will go ahead and play a kind of live match. I played it directly after the replays. That's how I'm always going to do it, and I'll share it with you guys, win or loss, on all these deck review videos. And you guys, really counting on you guys, to maybe pick apart my gameplay and tell me what I should have done better, what I could have done differently in certain situations. So let's go ahead and hop right into it here. You can see we're going against Apple Thief. I'm not sure who is pushing this account this season. I think it was Morton at one point. I'm not sure if it's him anymore, judging by the fact that he's not playing bait, right? He's playing 3 Musketeers, Dark Prince, a Bandit. I really like this deck. However, the thing about Apple Thief's deck that doesn't apply to this deck, this situation, is there's absolutely no Pump Punisher card at all in it. Just kind of a note on that 3 Musketeer version. I tried it out in yesterday's tournament, which I stream Monday through Friday, by the way, on Facebook, and I gotta say, I liked the deck, but just not having that punish against pumps, if you got caught in a bad rotation, a bad cycle against a player who did have pump, and you didn't have pump in the starting hand, man, it's really difficult playing Apple Thief's deck. But you can see, back to our deck here, let's talk about TNT's deck here. First of all, why is it so safe? Man, it is defensively incredibly strong. You have the Ewiz in this version. Ewiz so strong. You have Zap to kind of synergize with Ewiz if you need it to take out minions or something like that. You have, of course, both of the princes. You have normal prince for high, heavy stab / point damage, and then you have the Dark Prince for that splash damage that you need as well in the meta right now. So those are your big answers to any ground troops coming your way. Of course, if you need extra help against air troops, you do have the poison, you do have the mega minions. So that's your arsenal here. Now let's kind of cover the gameplay. You can see what he's going to do with this deck, and in all his gameplay here, he's pretty aggressive with this giant. He tries to punish with his deck as much as possible. He's not letting Apple Thief really get any 3 Musketeers down on the arena, right? I mean, every single time Apple Thief goes to pump, we are ready there to punish, usually with the giant, but we also have the miner. Now, something I've also noticed about TNT's playstyle using this deck is he's very selective with the miner. He's not always just going to send it in whenever there's a few leftover troops on defense. He likes to get a lot of value from his miner, and he likes to use it as a secondary tank in combination with the giant. So picture it this way. It's almost like the giant and the miner are in a relay race, and they're handing off the baton. So the giant is going to be just like this. You can see it right now on the screen, guys. The giant's going to be starting out the majority of your pushes, and then right when the giant is ending, you should be sending in that miner. This is a double elixir time move, by the way, guys. It's probably too aggressive to use in most circumstances in single elixir, but you can see the miner finished off that push and continued tanking for the surviving support troops behind that giant. That is the magic of this deck, and it's so solid. Speaking of solid, shout out to Thing1 Goosey, my YouTube sponsor of the day. Thank you to Thing1. I know you've been waiting a while for your shout out. I'm a little bit behind on those, but thank you to everybody who supports the channel. All right, so here we go. It's Dark Prince to counter that Goblin Barrel. Denied all but what? 3 stabs or so of those goblins. A log comes down the left lane. We opt to poison the princess, so we're going against Herma. That means we're going against bait. And bait is back, baby, so we have to know how to play against bait using this deck and, you know, what strategies to use here. So you can see an interesting observation that I've made on TNT is just looking at, he doesn't do the card selection spam thing. he just selects one card that he thinks he's going to play next, and he keeps that card selected. So that kind of gives us an interesting, unique insight to his mindset at all times during the match. So here comes the miner. He had it selected against that princess there. Meanwhile, he does have a charging prince, but that was kind of stymied by that goblin gang. However, when all said and done, we're still even in elixir, and we do get a decent amount of chip damage with that miner on the right tower. However, we're still not in the lead at this point. So we kind of put the dark prince behind the king tower. We don't kind of do it, we do it, Ash. The reason you put the dark prince behind the king tower is when you think your opponent might goblin barrel, your dark prince, even though the goblin barrel is placed perfectly in the center of the your princess tower, your dark prince can one-shot on a charge all 3 of the goblins. So if you think your opponent might be using the goblin barrel, go ahead and put the dark prince preemptively behind your king tower to get off that charge. So here we go, guys. It is again, we have a little push going here. We drop that giant to distract the princess, then we drop the E-Wiz behind. So now we have the prince, and we're gonna make contact here. Now he has miner selected. He's waiting to see if he needs it. He does. Giant's just about to go down. Miner goes in. Now miner is tanking. We also zap that tower to redirect the tower onto the miner, try to keep that prince alive. Of course, it didn't work perfectly in this situation. However, that's exactly how you want to be playing this deck, guys. Really, against any archetype that you're facing, it's just a beautiful kind of 1-2 punch, using the giant in the miner in that way that you just saw it again, guys. Now, what about an air deck? What about a lava loon deck with this deck? Well, we do have E-Wiz, which coincidentally is probably the best card against lava loon. So you want to be leaning heavily on the E-Wiz. If you're playing the musketeer version, you're going to be doing the same, leaning heavily on that E-Wiz, and then make sure you have good spacing between your mega minion and your E-Wiz. You can also push opposite lane with Dark Prince, because most of the time they'll be playing guards or tombstones, so Dark Prince puts a little pressure on them, makes them extend some elixir on the defensive end, and then you have poison if you need it on defense to back up that E-Wiz / musketeer, and of course the mega minion. So here comes the poison down, and it looks like that giant is going to reach the tower, even with that tornado there. Mega Minion doing a good job, and we're going to send in the miner because the giant's at about 25% HP. As soon as he gets around that low, guys, it's safe to send in the miner. He'll finish off the job just like he does here. Takes that final swing on that left tower, takes it down. TNT, another victory for the beast, TNT. Against Herma. Herma's a really good Russian player. I think that's the same Herma, but let's go against Julian's here. Another good player. Now, this is a matchup that I want you guys to see for one specific reason. It's another giant deck. Okay, two reasons. Oops. It's another giant deck, and they really probably have the advantage in this matchup because they have the disgusting Goblin Hut. I just kid, but it's an annoying card right now. So they have Goblin Hut. That's going to go ahead and bait out our poison. But the fact that they do have a building with a lot of hit points is going to be difficult here because they have a giant Prince deck as well, and they're going to be able to pull our giant and focus on the supporting troops, whereas we're not going to be able to do that to them. So let's see how TNT handles this very difficult matchup, and it's really going to come down to the end here, guys. So make sure you stay tuned to the end. If you don't want to see my ugly gameplay, that's fine. But make sure you watch the end of this replay because things are not looking good for quite a while here for TNT. But as you see with a lot of good players, they don't give up. They continue to try to make the correct plays, and then they pick their spots and try to punish at the end or whenever there's an opening, and that's exactly what happens here in this matchup. So here we are going to actually get a charge with this Prince, and that's going to be basically all of our damage onto that right tower for quite a bit, I think well into overtime, until we get any more damage on that right tower. Maybe a poison, but that's about it. It's down to 1751. We on the other side have 2827 HP, so we're definitely in the lead right now, but Julian's is going to be able to really do some nice work here. So he counters our giant with another giant play. So obviously with a giant, you should always go same lane as your opponent with a giant of your own. Julian's made the correct move there. And then if they drop a bunch of swarm troops, you want to definitely use your Dark Prince if you have one. Julian's doesn't, but you can use bats or your swarm cards to answer, right, and have your spells ready. If they drop more point damage troops, such as Mega Minion like TNT did, and Prince like TNT did, you always want to make sure you're dropping your Prince and your Mega Minion as well. So it's not rocket science here, but when choosing what troops to support your giant, make sure you choose them wisely. You don't want to use the Dark Prince if you don't need the Dark Prince. If you don't want to use the Dark Prince if they drop a Golem, you want to drop the Prince if they drop a Golem, right? So, speaking of Golem, that's going to be the next replay. So here we go. It's a Giant, it's a Prince, it's a Mega Minion. We place the Ewiz dangerously close to the river there, and he's going to be susceptible to those bats. However, he does stay alive. Now, this is a big monster push coming in from Julian's, but we're able to defend it, guys. We do take, I think, a few stabs here at the end. Yes, we do, and we're forced to basically keep cycling. The opponent did a smart move there, dropped that Giant right at the bridge, and he did that because he had the Goblin Hut still alive, so he knew he had support troops automatically flowing in from that Goblin Hut. So now we have the Ewiz. Prince is dead. We place the Dark Prince perfectly, so he avoids that poison. We're now down to 972, guys. This could be trouble. So Julian's here. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? He has Prince selected. He's going to drop his Prince, and it looks like he's going to set up for a giant bridge push here. So why not drop the Giant in back, I wonder, if you're Julian's? I think that might have been his big mistake, right? Maybe not. Maybe you guys can make the case why it wasn't. But I feel like this was dropping that Giant at the bridge rather than the slower troop behind the King Tower really ended up costing him this match. And here it is, just like we talked about. That was the first miner, I think, of the entire match, I want to say. I could be wrong, but either way, he did exactly what we talked about in the first matches, right? He finished off with that strong push with that miner and the surviving troops, takes out that right tower, and comes away with a victory. So here I go. I'm hopping into a match. I got my musketeer loaded, ready to go, and I'm going up against this guy who I can't pronounce his name. So it turns out he's playing a Golem deck. Spoiler for you guys. And I made... All right, I'd love to give you my excuse, but I'm not even going to give you my excuse. But I was at home and things were crazy, and I started with a miner in the back. Obviously an accident, hence the mad face afterwards, after I dropped him. So I'm already starting off without a miner and with a negative elixir advantage. So, or negative elixir to my opponent. So not the start we wanted, especially knowing that we were recording here. It's never want to start out with a miner in the back. Yeah, not a solid play. Anyway, thankfully he didn't play a pump or anything like that, so I just ended up losing 3 elixir, but I didn't end up losing much more. So I'm going to play a Dark Prince here behind this Golem. He comes in for a Golem push, a pretty aggressive Golem push. The reason I played the Dark Prince there, obviously, is to take the swings from the Mega Minion, and then maybe get something going on offense. One may have argued that I should not have sent in that miner. You know, it didn't end up doing anything for me, obviously. So another wasted miner. So far, we're 2 for 2. Now, remember, guys, feel free to give me feedback if you see something I should be doing differently here in these replays. And I'd say so far, my biggest mistake was 2 miners. We watched TNT's gameplay, and then we watched my gameplay, and the first thing amongst many that stands out to me is the fact that he barely uses his miner, only in that one circumstance where he needs another tank for the push, or if he needs to punish a pump, which we didn't really see much there. Even in the first 3 Musketeer matchup, he didn't punish pumps every single time with miner. He mostly just used poison. So I've already sent in 2 miners in the infancy of this match like an idiot. So my opponent makes a big mistake there. He cycles a Mega Minion in the left lane, and I get it because he had the Tornado there to pull and activate the King Tower with the Giant. But look at this. I'm able to send in the miner at the correct time. I'm 1 for 3 so far, and still almost take out that Golem. So the Golem does get death damage on my tower. You know, didn't want that, but I have nothing. I have no Tornado in this deck. I have no defenses in this deck. So if he gets to the tower, he gets to the tower. Meanwhile, I am going to connect to the tower with both the Prince and the Dark Prince. I'm going to go ahead and try to reload here and go for the 3 crown. I dropped the Giant there. He drops the Golem at kind of the same time. And remember, guys, again, he drops the Golem. I'm always going to want to use my Prince, not the Dark Prince. I'll save the Dark Prince for if I need him for the supporting troops. I drop down the poison there. Everything's looking good. I might even save this right tower, believe it or not here, guys. I do with that. No, I don't with that poison. So we're down to 482 on his King Tower there, so I'm not super worried, obviously, about that right tower. So here comes the miner. You want to make sure you switch up your miner placement on these towers, guys, obviously. Got lucky there. Probably should have put the miner on the left side, try to switch things up, or no one ever predicts the miner right in front of the king tower. So that one actually lucked out for us. We ended up walking away with the 3 crowns. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Special thanks again to TNT. Check out his information in the description below, along with my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Check out Bren's information in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.